This week on Off the Cuff, we attempt to go from segment to segment without having to restart from the beginning. Wow, I was kind of hoping that would be a lot better for a DS reference. Considering anything you do on the Nintendo DS, it has to restart itself.
What do you mean?
When you go into the settings, you can't go into the settings, and then, like, if you go from anything in the settings, the system has to restart constantly. And
It's amazing how obscure of a reference that was.
I just thought you guys would get it because it's one of the.
Sorry.
It's one of the most.
Now that you've explained it to me,
It's one of the most annoying things about the DS.
that's one of the most annoying things. Okay.
Well. Anyways,
moving right along here.
As usual, I'm your host, Michael Powers. You've heard Art Danner.
Hi.
And you've heard Shanzi.
Brigado!
And we found Joe.
Hey, I'm back.
And he is still Joe.
Yes.
Like,
I'm never going to live that down.
you will, but like 2 years after you die.
He was Joe Reed.
Yeah.
He was Joe Reed.
So, we're going to do a little bit about what we've been playing. And the second segment is a retrospective. We're going to be talking about the Nintendo DS and the PSP.
Yep.
So who wants to go first?
Which one of which one of us or which one of the systems?
No.
No,
No.
what we've been doing. How
Yes.
about
Oh,
Joe? Joe, what have you been doing?
Yes, Joe.
I've been in the wood shop downtown at my college, grinding wood, cutting wood, and measuring things.
Until remove college sounds real dirty.
I was going to
Oh,
say,
I'm sure I've
even
been
with
doing
college in
something
there,
else.
it still sounds really good.
Yeah.
Have you been making Tetris blocks?
No, but I want to do that someday. I made a Tetris quilt a couple of years ago out of denim. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, that makes you sound manly.
Hey, I like quilting.
I'm
You
good
should
at
see my
sewing.
Facebook. It's full of quilts.
Can I hang
They're
up
in
on
there.
Joe?
What?
No. You said I was
guess-
acting too much like a girl. God.
Hey,
It's joking. Joe
I'm gonna
does
punch you
beautiful
all in the
work.
vaginas.
Okay, let's not run wild with it.
No, I didn't mean to do that.
Wow.
Um,
goodness.
No, I did.
Sorry.
I did something video game related that was moderately interesting. I poke around on Reddit every once in a while, and I've very fortunately managed to avoid the nasty, disgusting, depressing part of Reddit. And anyway, I found a.
Then you're not trying.
Yeah, I know, right? I found a subgroup of game collectors, and I trolled on there for a couple days, looking at these people post. Hey, look what I found for this much at a garage sale, and it's I'm like, ha, that's quaint. I have one of those. And every once in a while, something would pop up, and it'd be like, dang, I really do want that. And I was starting to feel that
Ooh.
jealousy of like, man, these guys are finding stuff I don't have, and it motivated me to just quickly snap some shots of things that I hadn't put up in my on my album, and I went and created an Imager account and loaded the whole collection on there and decided, you know what, enough trolling, and I shared it. And it ended up being a very uplifting thing for me, because when you're down here in the basement looking at stuff, it's very easy to just kind of not realize how cool it all is. And hearing all of these anonymous people say wonderful things, it really kind of made me realize how lucky and blessed I am to have had so many good connections and happy friends. I'm sure. At least, well, yeah, Art, you've presented to the collection, and Mike, you've gotten stuff in here, and Sean, and that's why I appreciate good friends and being blessed and having all of this, and that was a very good thing.
So what you're saying is you went on the internet, got upset that people had stuff you didn't, and then flaunted everything you do have.
Yeah,
Nice.
well, that's what I'm saying. It put it in perspective, and I realized how lucky I am and how much I should not complain or feel that way.
You just wanted the adoration of strangers.
Yeah, it felt really good. I got like 300 imaginary internet points, and that was good. And I had like 15 minutes of internet fame. They're like, "Quick, come to our internet relay chat website. We want to talk to you." And I did that, and for 10 or so minutes, it's like, "Hey, it's that dude with that huge collection." And then the next day, I popped on there, and it's like, "Who's that guy?" Doesn't matter anymore. And my 15 minutes of internet fame are gone. But it felt good. It was neat.
Well, you still have fame here.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You played any games?
Did I? Good Lord, I know I did. I tried to play Far Cry again, and I determined that after you unlock everything, the story mode is kind of not so enticing anymore.
They added a feature where after you beat the game, you can reset all of the outposts.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's an
You
update.
still have all of your stuff, but it resets all the outposts so they get populated with guards again.
I would just stand many yards away with my 50 cal and
keep resetting it. Like bang bang bang. Oh, that's nice. Reset. Bang 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 bang.
Oh, I can do that faster.
And I finally bought Walking Dead, and I'm on episode 2.
Nice.
Still enjoying it?
Yes.
Speaking
Can't
of
play
which,
it when my wife's watching.
They just released the other Walking Dead game the other day.
Which I hear is fucking terrible.
Oh, I was assuming it was going to be.
Well, I already figured that once they go, it's based off the TV show. I was like, dumb.
Like, okay. It's
more importantly, they Telltale Games announced that we will see Walking Dead Season 2 out by September.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't see that, but I haven't been paying attention to anything.
That sounds like you.
So.
Well, I have plenty of time to beat it then.
I think they're going to make an announcement. I think at E3, or possibly at PAX. Since PAX is like what this week?
Yes. Is it season 2 or is it the stuff that Gary Whitta was talking about?
Season 2. They said season 2.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I don't know.
They tweeted that there would be news about season 2. So
I think I'll do what I did with The Walking Dead and wait until it's all out before I pick it up.
That's. I mean, you were talking about like with the first one. I was like, you
I
couldn't
might
be able to play one and then wait a month.
Yeah. I might actually start it on day one just because I enjoyed the first one so much.
And there's something to be said about that wait, that pause, like when they did the Green Mile book serialized, waiting that month or what is part of the experience of that anticipation. There's got to be something.
It's like, being a comic book collector versus buying graphic novels.
Indeed.
But see, the whole thing with The Walking Dead, like even waiting a day from between episode 4 and 5, like didn't ruin the game for me, but it like any tension that 4 had built
took away some of the intensity.
Yes.
Intensity.
Yes, exactly.
It's like I'm making up words now.
It gave me it gave me a chance to think about the decisions I had made. Versus
like reflect?
just like reflecting on what I had done, where the character, you wouldn't actually have time to reflect on your decisions in that.
I don't think I could have played multiple episodes back to back because I think my nerves were way too frazzled and I needed a day to recover between episodes.
Yeah, but would you want to wait?
Especially after episode 2.
Weeks in between.
I think episode 2 ruined me a little bit as a human being.
I do not want to go into that barn door. I don't.
Oh dear Lord!
Like, why are they making me do that decision? I don't want to do it.
Oh dear Lord! You have no idea.
Or maybe he does. I mean, you didn't know about it.
I have an idea, and I don't want to do it, but they're making me. The story is telling me.
It gets worse. You think it's going to be bad, and then it gets worse. That's all I remember. That's the main thing I remembered about episode 2 is I was like, because Mike was like, I have a good idea where this is going. I was like, it seems obvious, and then the obvious
It's like,
thing
oh, I
happens.
wish it had gone there.
Yeah,
Like, I
the
wish I had
obvious thing
stopped.
happens, and then somehow they make the obvious even worse than you could have imagined.
Yeah.
Something's kind of telling me I should have gone back or I should play it again and befriend the angry old man from the first
No,
one.
don't get attached.
Oh,
Well,
That's okay.
everyone's expendable.
I don't know. Okay. I wanted to say something, but then I was like, no, I don't want to.
He gets what's coming to him real fast.
Yeah.
Does he get it like wholesale? Like awesome.
It's one of those. It's like it was. You'll find out. It's really off. At least the way it went down in the game that me and Mike were playing. I know it can go a different way, but holy crap! Because I think me and Mike both kind of like jumped backwards when it happened because we weren't expecting it to go down the way it did.
Yeah, it was very the
Because
path.
me and Mike were just like, "What the fuck?"
Well, yeah, it's two paths to the same thing, but the one that we went down, it was like a jump moment, like startled, like what the hell just happened? So, but no, that's
so
great.
good, so good.
Yeah, I'm glad I picked it up. So
I'm glad I made you pick it up.
I'm glad it was my game of the year, even though I hadn't played it all the way through.
Yeah,
so
you'd played like a fifth of it.
And it was amazing.
I was thinking, just based off of just talking early game of the year stuff. I was thinking again today that Tomb Raider is the best game I've played this year.
I was easily gonna say that. Yeah, if Tomb Raider is not on my top 5 for this
Best
year,
game that came out this year that you played.
I will be pleasantly surprised with all the games that come out this year because it was really good.
But yeah, and because I was thinking about it today, I said, it's probably going to come down to, Tomb Raider and Last of Us, and we're probably going to end up wimping out again and doing best game of the year from Crystal Dynamic. Tomb Raider, and then
I have a feeling that's how I feel about Saints Row 4. I have a feeling that's going to be on my list when it comes.
I haven't
out.
watched the trailer, but all I heard was the premise, and I was like, sold.
Yeah,
there.
I mean,
None
it
of
sucks
us are
that
talking
that
about Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah,
because I'm waiting for a very specific piece of information to drop before I get excited about that game.
co-op.
Grand Theft
I want to
5.
hear three player heist
Co-op.
co-op.
Yeah,
And if I hear those words, I'm instantly sold on that game.
Did anybody else besides me and Sean hear what the premise is for Saints 4?
isn't it aliens attacking the White House?
Oh,
Kinda.
No, one of these saints becomes president of the
United States.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were going to release this DLC for Saints the Third called Enter the Dominatrix,
Yeah,
and it's the Matrix.
because they pulled that. They started
Saints
on
Rowified.
that. Yeah. They pulled that and were actually that Enter the Dominatrix turned into Saints 4.
Yeah, they rolled it into the fourth game. I guess their ambition for it was going to be so huge. They were like, this is too big for DLC, and they just pushed it to the next game.
I'm wondering, because this is like one of the first games that's been announced so far that doesn't have a next gen release.
Yep.
I'm wondering if it will.
Well, same with Grand Theft 5 though. Grand Theft 5 they announced will not have a next gen release.
Well, but Grand Theft 5 was announced before the next gen console releases.
Yeah.
Well,
Saints Row
they
4
asked them. They're like, "You guys are going to do next gen release, right?" And they're like, "No."
Well, I understand that, but what I'm saying is like since we've had the announcement of the PlayStation 4,
Yeah,
Saints
everything
Row
has
is
been announcing multiple. Yeah,
Saints Row is the first game where it's like, no, we're not next gen. So I mean,
and then we're not. I don't think we're going to get a. We're going to get a lot of multi-release platform. But if let's go back for a second. Let's go back to the end of the PS2 and the Xbox and think about the multi-release stuff that came out. A lot of it was bullshit garbage.
oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Like-
Gun.
Yeah, like the gun, which was basically I want to say that the 360 version was worse than the PS2 version.
And wasn't the Rainbow Six game that came out, or the Splinter Cell game, wasn't that better on the Xbox than on the 360?
I think it was actually better on the GameCube than it was.
Well,
But it was better on past gen than current than
Yeah.
at that point where it was the next gen.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I just found it interesting that they're not even trying to port, especially.
Yeah.
Or Tony Hawk's Tony Hawk's American Wasteland was a launch title for
Yes.
the 360, and for some reason there was less content in the 360 version than there was in the PS2 version.
I think that
Like it's
happened
one of
with,
those things that I get nervous about those cusp titles.
Yeah.
Because it's like
Because
a
it's
good
like
game can get
which-
lost in that
Which
transition.
version is gonna suffer? And it's one of those like they're like, well, we're gonna make this stuff look really good, but it's like they concentrate so much on making it look good on the next system that they sacrifice content.
Yeah. Well,
Are they going to make a next gen game that they dumb down and put on current gen? Or are they going to make a current gen game that they try to polish up and make pretty enough for the next gen?
And some of them have been developing it so long that it's been on the old technology.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see some decent ports this time because of how easy the PS4 is to program for. So I'm a little more hopeful that actually the PS4 versions are going to be better than the PS3 versions of stuff that are coming out because it's
Because it
easier
uses like the
platform to program
off
for.
the shelf kind of stuff and not
Yeah, you don't have to write
proprietary
code for it. You
software,
just
yeah.
put an emulator in it.
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at with Saints Row, is that it's coming out for the PC too. So it's like, why not just, with the hardware in the PS3 and presumably the hardware in the next Xbox being so close, there are architectural differences, of course.
Well, the
but
thing,
yeah.
being so
the
close,
other
it's
thing
like,
you got to think about is the fact of because of the THQ sale, that
Yeah.
game could be way more done than you actually anticipated it to be, and
Yeah.
because of the sale, this thing may be so completely close to gold, but because of the transitions and all that stuff,
push it
they
back.
they must just push the release back. They could be way more done with this than you possibly think they are, because I think the THQ sale it screwed up a lot of the timetables on a lot of those games that got sold.
I mean, that's completely valid. I was just making a thing that, it's interesting that it's the first one. And there was another one too. Someone else. It was a game that I didn't really care about. I can't remember the name. I think it was Capcom announced a game for February that's on current stuff and not next gen.
Yeah,
There was some other game out there, but I
Remember
like
Me?
I said, no,
or is it okay?
it's not Remember Me, because Remember Me is June.
Oh, it's coming out. Remember Me scheduled for the same day as Last of Us now, isn't it?
No, June 4th.
I thought it was June 17th.
That's Last of Us. But I checked when you said it was delayed. I went and looked at what it was originally May and got delayed to June 4th.
It's gonna. That game already looks like it's totally worth $20.
So I didn't know.
It doesn't look like a $60 game.
I didn't know until I went and dug into it a little more that it was originally supposed to be a Sony exclusive.
You know,
So
the stuff I saw looks okay.
it looks like Oni.
It does look like Oni.
So I didn't mind Oni, but that was a long time ago. I say that having played Oni, 12 years ago. So
Yeah.
All right, Danner. I know you've been playing a whole heap.
Are you sure you want me to go now? Okay. Number one, it's a couple dangerous things. I got a PlayStation credit card.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I'm currently kind of have a specific card that I just put my video game purchases on, so I can track my video game purchases better. But now I'm also getting bonus points for buying video games on top of already getting bonus points at Best Buy. So it's just I'm racking up points for free crap to buy more free games. Anyways, regardless, I already got $50 PSN credit, and then used 18 of that to buy a 3-month PlayStation Plus subscription to see if I was going to enjoy that and like that. And so far, since the PlayStation Plus is now providing free games to the Vita and the PS3, I went pretty much close to insane and just downloaded a ton of stuff and played a ton of shit this week. I didn't on Saturday somehow, I don't even know how. I basically spent 10 hours playing games.
Well, it's
which for me is insane, but because I had so many new things to play, I was like a kid with ADHD the entire time.
Was it one of those ones where you stopped and you're like, oh my God, it's dark out now?
It was one of those, like, I got to the end of the day and I was like, oh my God, I haven't gamed this long in a long time. My ass hurt from sitting on the couch.
It feels good though, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. It felt amazing.
It's like stretching a muscle you haven't used in a long time.
And I mean, I've downloaded so much of the free games that I haven't actually played all of them yet. So I won't even go into everything that I've downloaded. I'll just go into what I've actually played so far. But first off, Tomb Raider. I beat Tomb Raider.
Yay!
Finally.
Woo!
I probably could have beaten it like on Saturday because I was close enough to the end. But for some reason, I decided to go all the way back to the beginning of the game and go through and collect all the collectibles. Because unlike Mike, I was enjoying the books and the audio logs because it was adding so much more to the game. And I don't want to go into too much about the story because I'm going to let Joe borrow it. And I know he's going to play it and I don't want to ruin anything. But I know Joe also told me to give him the sales pitch earlier when we were talking on the phone, which is tell me the 3 best things about the game and then tell me the worst thing about the game. So there is a few, like I said, the thing that altogether after playing it all the way through and feeling like I can, form a solid, review and opinion of the game, probably the most fun and one of the most solid through and through games I've played in a while. Like it didn't, if I'm trying to think of the best way to describe
it wasn't bloated.
Yeah, it didn't feel like there was unnecessary portions or things that drug out too long. It was really it was even keeled and paced throughout the entire game. I didn't feel like there was a whole lot of unnecessary things. Like I would go as far to say that probably the challenges were a little unnecessary.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like I guess that's what I was trying to say. Like I didn't find a whole lot of. I found the game stuff to be unnecessary.
The thing was I didn't even know there was challenges in the area until I went and I looked at the map. I was like, oh fuck, there's challenges here. Okay. And literally the challenges are there's like some stuff spread out in the area that if you find them and you shoot them, you complete the challenges. The one I will say is the most annoying, the Shipwreck Beach and the Minesweeper challenge. There's 10 old ocean mines.
There's 10?
Yes. Some are washed up on the shore, some are in the ocean, and you have to shoot all of them. I shot all of them, but my game says that I've only found 9 out of the 10. It didn't register one of the ones I shot. And now I'm sitting at 99% completion on the game, and it's driving me crazy because there's a small bug in the game. I've spent 2.5 hours looking for the mine that I supposedly missed, but finally, after searching the forums and everything online, it's a bug that they haven't fixed.
Because I didn't. It must be a PS3 thing. Because I found 100% of the game on the 360. There was one mine that I went looking around for, and it was almost. It was almost in a spot that I could not see it. It was actually almost out past the draw distance.
Okay.
And it's when you're going out towards there's
2 of them out there.
Yeah, there's
one on the right and there's one on the left.
Yeah, the one on the left was almost out in the draw distance.
Really?
Yeah, it was really far out there.
Mine wasn't. Mine was right by the rocks.
Maybe I would.
The ones in the ocean, that's where the bug is. The ones in the ocean can move.
Well, I would actually
They're
just
not
suggest
at a fixed position.
Go try again. Like just load it
I
up, and
got
go.
I got both of those ones. I know for sure I got both of those ones. The one that I'm not positive on is, you know, where like the wrecked portion of the ship is when you're going over to the tower.
Yes.
That's right there. There's one like that's in front of a hull.
Yeah.
That one I can't guarantee that I got, and supposedly that's the one that glitches out the most.
Oh. Well, have you tried just like I know
I
you
shot
tried.
explosive arrows everywhere
Well,
into
no,
that water.
I didn't
and
mean
nothing.
that. Did you try you tried two separate occasions to try and find that, right?
4 separate occasions now.
Like with like completely shutting the game off and turning it back on.
Yeah.
Okay, because I ran into an issue on the 360 where I was trying to find a GPS cache,
Yeah.
and I was using the marker
Okay.
on the map to lead me to where it was, and it was on top of a hut where the
Well, the problem is with the challenge stuff, you can't mark those on your.
well, no,
map.
it wasn't one of the challenge ones though. But but it was I went to where the little beacon was telling me that it was, and it
Yeah.
wasn't there. And I looked like underneath the hut. I looked on top of the hut. I looked all over the place, and I stopped and went about and found something else. And I stopped the game, and I came back and I loaded it back up, and the thing magically appeared where it was supposed to be. Like it glitched out, but then when I restarted the game, it loaded back up. That's the only reason I asked. But I honestly, I think you should just try going and looking out on the horizon.
Okay. I could
That
try it.
that was going to be when you said that you were looking for them and you couldn't find one. That's the advice I was going to give, because it was almost, you almost even can't, when you do the little pulse thing,
Yeah.
you almost can't even see it with the pulse.
Hmm.
It's just, and I shot it with the M16 or the
I'll try.
AK.
It's just frustrating to not get 100% completion of the game.
I was frustrated trying to find it. I was like, this is so stupid. I'm sitting there going, I don't even want to do this. Like, but I did it. So
Yeah, and it's.
anyways, your
I
pitch.
I just really appreciate what Crystal Dynamics finally managed to do with the series. Because I think from Legend and Underworld, it was obvious that they had a grander scope for the game, but it was like a lot of the ideas were, it's like they wanted to do something, but their hands were tied the entire time. And I don't know how much Square Enix had to do with what went down, or because I think this has been in production for, I almost think, before the IDOS Square Enix merger.
Yes,
Okay, I was about to ask what Square Enix had to do with Tomb Raider, but that answers that.
they published it.
They published it. But I just it was impressive at the fact that they kept a lot of characters and interesting things. I think the best way, the way I described it to Joe earlier is it's like Star Trek.
The characters are there, but they're not necessarily who they were before.
Exactly. It's like the original Star Trek versus the J.J. Abrams reboot, where it's all the characters that you expect to be there are there, but everything goes completely topsy-turvy and nothing's exactly the same as it was before, which is awesome. Which, I mean, it's the fact that it seems like every single major character that was in the old series shows up in this game, but they don't make it. So, which isn't going to be a spoiler for Joe at all, because Joe doesn't know who the fuck anybody is in the old series besides Lara Croft. So I've ruined nothing for him. So when somebody dies and it goes, huh, that dude's dead, and he won't know any of the history of them or what sort of purpose they
Like,
have.
oh, that guy was kind of important in the old series. Now he's dead.
No, he's dead. The one thing that I thought was really, really interesting, which I kind of don't want to get into because Joe's here, but the at the very end of the game, when the dual pistols both show up, finally, I thought that was awesome.
Oh yeah, that was really funny. It was also really funny when I went. That was cool. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it was also really funny because I didn't realize what it was telling me to do.
Yeah.
So I was only pulling one trigger.
Uh,
And then I was like, oh, wait, it's both.
well,
So-
the thing that I thought was interesting was, Joe, plug your ears.
La
Just
la la
Plug
la.
your ears
La.
and go la la la.
I'll turn the
Perfect.
mute off.
The fact that she got one of her guns from her mentor and one of her guns from her enemy.
But that's not. Is the gun that you upgrade in the game, is that the gun she got from her mentor? Because
Yeah.
okay, because they didn't look the same to me.
Well, I think she eventually gets his gun, or you switch over.
Okay,
Unless I missed something. But I thought, okay, I may have read that wrong then, because I thought it was a nice a balance between light and dark type of a very like.
I thought one was just her upgrading her stuff because I didn't see her take her mentor's. I saw the mentor's pistols.
I'm fairly certain she took her mentor's pistol.
Okay, I just I did like that by the end of the game that gun was basically the gun from RoboCop.
Nice.
And it's it's like, oh, and you're just gonna open up your hip and pull it out. I see.
Yeah.
So
But I thought there was some very interesting story. There was some good storytelling going on, and that was one of the things I was concerned about, because a few of the reviews said that like the story starts out strong, but then it goes flat. And I never really felt that way. I thought the story was pretty consistent, and I thought a lot of the audio logs kind of helped build the mythos of what was going on in the island, which I know you didn't really pay any attention to those.
But
I don't think they're completely necessary to the plot, but I think it just gives you way more background information.
But you know what? I will say this: I disagree with what the reviewer said about the story.
I completely agree with I completely disagree with what the reviewers were saying about this story also.
Like what I got what happened. Like they did a good job of relaying the information you need to know what's going on, like in game.
Yeah,
I felt like they did such a good job of that. But what, like I said, one of the audio logs, like she finds out very early on that the guy she's with is a complete hack and is going to steal her work.
Yeah,
and it's like, but she doesn't really act that like she doesn't. The game doesn't address that she knows this.
The thing
So
that
it's like as the player of the game, but she doesn't know, even though you are her.
Yeah.
The thing that I thought was really interesting was the fact that Lara doesn't realize what's going on with Sam until like the last 45 minutes of the game, and I knew exactly what was happening in the first hour.
Yeah, you too.
The moment Matthias takes off with Sam, I was like, I got a really good idea of what's going on, and like 20 minutes later, I was like, yeah, that's definitely what's happening here. And then when he gets to the end of the game, and Lara puts all the pieces together, I was like, seriously, you just fucking got that now?
Yeah, no kidding.
Because that was probably my biggest complaint about the game, is the fact that it was like, I knew really, really very early on exactly what was going on, and
Laura didn't.
The Laura didn't, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I can get past that type of stuff, because that happens with movies all the time, where I was like, I'm pretty sure what's going on, and then they don't reveal until like the beginning of the third act what's actually happening, and you figured it out 10 minutes into the first act.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that it's fine. It was more fun getting there than anything else. I mean, it was just, and like I said, the issues that I have with, for some reason, this game made me realize more issues that I have with Uncharted than I originally thought I did. Which was a lot of the gunfights just seemed to drag on a little too long in the first Uncharted game.
Mm-hmm.
I still, and in Tomb Raider's case, I think Tomb Raider was better than Uncharted 1. I almost want to say it's on par. It's pretty much the same, or maybe a little bit better than 3, but there's no way it's better than 2.
Well, when I compare it to Uncharted, the I enjoy the shooting in Tomb Raider way more than Uncharted.
No, the combat was incredibly solid. That is definitely the one thing I will say. The combat was very, very solid.
And I felt like the encounters, like I do agree with you about the encounters in Tomb Raider being more realistic than the ones in Uncharted. But I mean, that's
Yeah.
issues that everyone's had with Uncharted. Like as good as Uncharted is, the combat is usually people's worst.
Yeah,
Now,
thing.
I always wonder about that. Is it that the combat itself, or is it the fact that the guys you're fighting can apparently throw 10,000 guys at you?
Yeah, it's that.
It's that.
It's the waves of. It's like the amount of people that you're murdering is unrealistic. It's I believe the guys on Rebel FM called both Lara and Drake a murdering murderer who murders. um, and yeah, the encounters are far less. And I did appreciate when going back into the game and finding all the extra stuff that I only found like 10 guys. The world doesn't really repopulate after you finish the game.
I was laughing about some of the dialogue after the game's beat, and you go back to some of the areas because like even the guys that are still on the island are all like happy that the weather's gone. And are talking about like what they're having for dinner, and then I sneak up on them and put an arrow between their eyes while they're talking about how much better things are, and how the island's normal, and how they're gonna get off the island, and how optimistic they are, and then I just go through and fucking kill every single one of them.
The one bummer I think at the end of the day that kind of irks me more than anything else like is she earns the trademark pistols.
Yeah.
But
you don't have them after the game ends.
I was hoping that there was a point where the costume changes, and I was kind of hoping that she would get the trademark look.
Yeah.
Because she starts off with two tank tops.
We probably won't see that too.
Yeah. She starts off with the two tank tops and the pants, the cargo pants. And the suit, the tank tops get worn out in such a way, and the pants get worn out in such a way that I was like, I honestly thought for a little bit, I was like, at some point she's just gonna like tear, the rest of the pants off, and the
have
shirts.
her
Go to the
cargo shorts.
Yeah, but then again, that's not the Tomb Raider they were trying to evoke, and that's fine. I got that. I like the new character and stuff like that. But I was like,
I was very hung up by the way the final sequence at the end and the final journal entry and the last line of the game. I was like, fucking perfect. That was just the perfect way to end the game.
So, and I think if we've talked about this, if that we can get a Tomb Raider in the years when Uncharted isn't out.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. And I almost don't want them to come out at the same time. Like if that ever happens,
you don't want
schedule,
them to compete against each other.
But like I said on the last show,
I don't want it. Yeah, it's one of those. I don't want it to be like Call of Duty and Battlefield.
But at the same time, like I said on the last show, I don't really think I can compare it to Uncharted anymore.
Yeah,
it's fundamentally
its own monster.
Well, no, it's a fundamentally different game. At least this one was. Who knows what the next one's going to be.
I think you could compare the old ones together and just how Uncharted out Tomb Raidered.
Yes.
It back in the day, but I think they've changed the formula enough for Tomb Raider that it's something
it got out under Uncharted's shadow.
Yeah. So. Until you play the multiplayer.
I will say this real quick, and then we can move on from Tomb Raider because we've talked about it for 3 weeks now. We'll probably talk about it again when Joe has played it and Shanzi's played it. But I just on a whim, I went back and finished Tomb Raider Underworld. That game made me appreciate the new Tomb Raider so much more.
Because it's terrible.
Yes, it is freaking terrible.
I'm amazed that you were even able to play it because I thought for sure you would load it up and go, fuck it.
I almost was. I was almost going to give up on it, and I was like, you know what? No, this is what the internet is for. Any puzzle that I came up with, and they weren't even puzzles. It was traversal. Like that's the one thing. Maybe it's kind of been dumbed down or babied by Tomb Raider by newer games and like the way they show you where you can go and stuff like that. But this game, there's like nothing to indicate what you can do. And I stopped at the worst possible place where it's all platforming, and I just had to get a guide, and the guide had to tell me which way I can go. She controls like a freaking sloth still. I didn't like I, but you know what? She can run at an angle. It's not straight forward and back and left and right. She can actually run in 8 directions. Um, the one thing I found that was funny was the combat was completely different. I almost
combat's terrible.
I almost missed in the new Tomb Raider being able to just hold down the trigger and flip all over the place like a crazy mad person and still hit your target.
Yeah.
I finished it. I beat my head against the wall. I died more times in the last 2 chapters of Underworld just trying to finish it than I did in all of Tomb Raider. Not only that, you were talking about the scope of the previous games.
Yeah.
Yeah, she becomes Thor. She gets like she gets like these gloves and a belt, like kind of like Thor in the Marvel universe has, or in the Ultimates universe had. And then she actually gets Thor's hammer, and you spend like the last 2 acts of the game you don't even use your guns anymore. You just walk around electrocuting people with an electric bolt that comes out of your hammer. And
that sounds too.
And then you use it underwater. You fire electricity underwater. And they also
what are you trying to say, that that's not feasible?
Well, the other part was funny too. When you start a new level, they let you pick your outfit. And the last level takes place in Antarctica, and I put on you get like a full suit, a full person wetsuit or whatever, and then you get like this wetsuit Speedo kind of thing going on. I was like, I'm gonna put that on. So she's swimming in like under an Arctic ice shelf. We'll just switch it to an Arctic ice shelf, and she's swimming underwater, and she's in one of those wetsuits that just covers like the top of your body, like your legs are bare, and she doesn't have on. She's swimming without flippers, and I'm like, this is really happening. I'm really watching this. But yeah, the other thing I kind of wish they had in the new Tomb Raider was skins. Like, I want to be able to play as like a polygon, just walking around the screen.
Nah.
I just think it'd be fun. But yeah, it took me 4.5 years to beat that game.
Yay.
And I didn't get half the trophies at all. I finished it and had 17% of the trophies, and I was like, what the hell happened here? And I went and looked, and apparently it was one of the games that was released right before Sony made it mandatory for trophies, and it got patched in later. So I only got the trophies for like the last 2 chapters.
Uh-huh.
So, and I'm not replaying that shit.
Why not? So, besides Tomb Raider, I also played Closure, which is a PSN like puzzle game. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's a light and dark game. Everything's black and white. And wherever there's light, the world exists, but wherever there's darkness, it's a void, and you'll fall off the world. So you have to manipulate the light in order to get through the platform stages.
So basically, you can't step into shadows, and you have to move.
If you step into a shadow, you fall off the world and you die.
This sounds like Echo Chrome 2.
I haven't played Echo Chrome 2. It has it kind of looks a little bit like, I can't think of the game all of a sudden. Limbo. Looks like Limbo a little bit, but with an art direction kind of like Patapon.
All right, I see that, especially since I just grabbed Patapon because it was free on the PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, so I played it for like 30 minutes, but it's kind of one of those. It seems addictive that if you could sit down and just tear through the levels, it's fun. Would I be playing it if it wasn't free right now? Probably not. But I'm enjoying it. It's not bad for what it is. It's not bad for a puzzler. I'd rather it it's one of those. For every single time I play a puzzle game on the PS3, I keep wishing it's on the Vita, because for some reason puzzle games are more of a handheld system thing to me. Because I like to be able to, sit down, do like 6 or 7 puzzles, and then put it down and walk away from it.
I wonder if that's like the
walk
old.
away from the toilet.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if that's the old crossword mentality.
Yeah,
Maybe.
So that's good. I started playing Plants vs Zombies on Vita because that was also a free game.
You've played that before, though, right?
I've played that ton. I've played it on the Kindle. I've played it on the MacBook. I've played it on like 3 or 4 different systems. The only thing I like more about this one is the fact that I get to play it and I get trophies at the same time.
I know, right?
Which is awesome, because I would gladly play that game any day of the week, and now I get trophies for it, which makes me actually want to play it more.
I like the shake to collect the sun.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so much smoother.
Oh no, it really, they did a good job of adapting it for the Vita. It's nice. And then Uncharted Golden Abyss is also a free game right now with PlayStation Plus. So I downloaded that. So I was playing Tomb Raider and Uncharted at the exact same time. And it's, like I said, playing Tomb Raider at the same time while I was playing an Uncharted game just brought out all the issues I had with Uncharted, because the gunfighting portions of Golden Abyss are just as awesome as they are in the console versions, and but it's a little bit more clunky until you get an automatic weapon, and that gets a little bit easier to do. And it's just trying to get used to how the Vita controls work in with the game. There's a lot of really, really good uses of the Vita controls with Uncharted.
Well, isn't that the game they used to show off some of the new Vita controls when Vita came out? Me and Mike have talked about this before, and I'm sure we'll talk about this when we get to the Vita next week also, and especially with even with the DS and with the PSP, how with the new system, the launch titles for a system tend to super hardcore push all the features of the system, so you'll know that they're there, and then usually after you get to the launch window and they don't really have those, well, you need to show this and this off, and then they can actually really design functional games for the system.
Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2.
Yeah, exactly. Where the Uncharted Golden Abyss suffers from that, the system does this, and this, and this, so we need the system to do this, and this, and this, and this. And it's one of those, like, you could really see that there would be a lot better game there if it wasn't a launch system. But I don't mind some of the functionality. I think actually some of it's cool. Like, instead of having to climb through terrain and stuff like that,
you just draw a line, right?
You could draw a line and have him traverse the line that you drew. So go along that path that you drew with your finger. The climbing a rope using the back of the back touchpad to climb, that doesn't bother me any.
It's okay.
Throwing grenades sucks. Throwing grenades fucking blows in that game.
Do you find it easier to climb a rope with the touch than it is to just push up on the stick?
I think it's more interesting. I don't necessarily say it's better.
That stuff snaps me out of the game.
See, that doesn't really bother me. Like
use the back touch just for the
opening a rusty door and having to swipe your finger 3 times until they open the fucking door is annoying to me.
Wait, when's that?
It's happened 3 times already. I'm at chapter 9.
I think you've played longer than I have.
Yeah, trust me, it's coming, and it happens twice, and it happens within a 20-minute period. So, doing the rubbings is cool, because you literally put a piece of paper there, and then you take the charcoal, and then you rub on the paper to do the rubbings. I know there's a part later in the game that I haven't gotten to that you get a piece of paper that's blank, and there's nothing on it, and then you take your Vita, and with the rear camera, you hold it up to a light, and then you can see through the piece of paper.
That's
on the
cool.
Vita.
Like that, all that stuff. I like all that stuff that they did. Like the
No, and
Revenant stuff.
and I like that kind of stuff too.
I just wish it didn't have the everything that they added. That, and I'm pretty sure you're going to talk about something else here too. I wish they didn't put percentages.
Yeah,
I wish it was
especially
like
when you're wiping off like pickaxes and shovels and stuff.
yeah, that stuff or taking
the helmet.
taking the pictures.
Oh, the pictures! I don't. Ugh.
The helmet was the most annoying part for me because it was like I found the logo or whatever, and he's like, "This is what this is," and then it's like,
Okay, number one, that's the first of many to come.
yeah, I
So-
know. But I was like, but he's like, you find what he's looking for, right? And then, but then they're still like, you can't leave this screen until you scrape it all off. What the hell?
My biggest issue so far with the game is I don't like how they've incorporated the card game into it.
Isn't that just the wanted stuff?
Yeah, because everything you collect, you build up cards, and then the cards can be used to go into the Fight for Fortune card game,
Okay.
which is like a Magic the Gathering type of a Uncharted card game that you buy separately for like $5. Regardless, that's fine, and it's not something you have to utilize. But anything you're collecting in the levels helps build up the stats for those cards, so it makes me feel like I'm collecting things in a level for absolutely no fucking reason whatsoever because I have no plans of playing the Uncharted card game. I play the demo and I get everything I needed to get out of the Uncharted card game. That was it. I don't need to buy the game. It doesn't seem that intriguing to me, and honestly, if I was going to do that, I would get back into something like Uncharted. I'm sorry, like Magic the Gathering, which number one is a money suck and is total bullshit.
Okay,
But-
then.
just so you know, you could do exactly the same thing by spending $14.99 on Xbox Live and just buying the tournament edition, and then you don't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars building a deck. You can, for $15, you could just create a deck digitally instead of wasting your life's money. And plus, you should really see the people that play that game. Still, it's quite sad.
That being said, I'd like a Magic the Gathering guy to come to the Geek Garage sale.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun.
There's a certain, I mean, I know we're a geeky podcast, and don't get me wrong, but there's our types of geeks, and then
They're
there's
perpetuating the bad stereotype of geeks.
yes, they
Captain
God.
Sweatpants off of Big Bang Theory.
yeah, it's really sad. But the bigger issue, like Uncharted, like Golden Abyss is really good when you're doing the looking for artifacts and you're climbing around and you're looking for things and doing the archaeologist portion of the game, or the archaeology part of it. The fighting and the gunplay just seems so boring.
Now, I'm wondering, is that because of Tomb Raider, or do you think?
I honestly do think it is because of Tomb Raider. I do think that's a portion of it. And it's the longer the game goes, the less I mind the combat in the game. But there was a few instances where, like, you get into a fight, there's like 4 guys there, and you kill those 4 guys, and like 12 guys show up, and it's like, fucking seriously?
I'm playing it on hard, so yeah,
I'm
I know.
not,
I
because I figured I would get way too annoyed because of playing Tomb Raider at the same time, and just already kind of feel like, man, they do combat way better than Uncharted, and I was kind of fearful of that. That's why I didn't go for
well,
why I didn't go for a harder mode.
here's an example of I realized this because I was so irritated when I died. I killed from when I started the game to the first time I died, I killed 70 people.
You bastard.
And I'm only on I think I'm either on chapter 4 or chapter 6,
Okay,
and I killed 70 people.
it's gonna get worse because there's a ton of guys in chapter 8.
Well, that's fine. Even one of the trophies is kill so many guys, kill like 80 guys or something like that.
I already got it.
Yeah. It's in a row without dying.
No, I don't think I've gotten that.
So, and I've been playing on hard because, well, I've played all the Uncharted games on hard. But the one thing I did notice that I kind of wish they would have left in for the hard mode was auto aim.
Yeah,
Uh,
because that's
yeah,
gone.
yeah, they removed auto aim if you play on hard, and I was like, this is so stupid.
I don't even think there's an auto aim on normal, dude.
There, can you? It's in the options. There should be a
Oh.
checkbox.
I should do that because the aiming is super dumb on this one.
Yeah. Did you turn off the aiming with the control? Like, are you still aiming by moving the Vita?
No, God no.
You turned
I
that
didn't
off?
even know you could do that. That sounds dangerously dumb.
That's actually the default.
Huh.
That might be why you're having such a hard time.
It could be.
The default aim is aiming with the Vita, like moving it around in front of you, tipping it and stuff like that.
See, now you do that with the camera, but it doesn't do that with. At least I haven't noticed. Maybe that explains a few things.
So, well, I would imagine like when you're doing the camera, you're actually like it tells you to like move move it. Like I turned all that stuff off, so I was aiming with the analog sticks instead of moving the whole thing around. Like,
Yeah.
So when you turn on, aiming is tied to actually moving the system around, unless you turn it off.
And yeah,
Well, it's not dumb or anything.
yeah.
I felt like I get that it's a launch game and they needed to put all that stuff in there, but it was just at some point it became too much stuff. Like you could have just made an Uncharted game and it would have been awesome. That said, I do like the way it looks. I do like I still think at least what I've played, I don't know what I've played, it's still Drake.
The my other issue so far, which I don't know if you've noticed this yet. I'm at chapter 9 and we're still in the same country.
The locale, yeah.
Like it just seems like such a smaller scope
Right.
compared to the other games.
Right. Because we talked about that, like the Uncharted games are globe-trotting events, and
Exactly, and this one isn't so far. I'm not saying that it's not yet, and I don't know how many chapters there are. I just know typically in the other games, we're talking like 26 chapters.
yeah, I think it's the same.
So it's one of those like I'm almost at the halfway point, and we haven't gone anywhere.
So it
Which
leads
seems a
to
little
believe
bizarre.
you're not going to be going anywhere.
I have that feeling that we might never leave Venezuela or wherever the
But it's
fuck.
such a lovely country.
But
Well, I
anyway,
mean, not when you're done with it because you killed half the populace. But
yeah, but they probably had it coming. The other games I played, which two of them I will touch on very briefly. I played Mega Man 9, which is still balls ass hard. And that's how I'm gonna leave it. It's a fucking awesome game, but it's still insanely fucking hard.
now, is it too hard, or is it like the appropriate amount? Like it's challenging.
I don't think
it's like
the
old
new
school
Mega
Nintendo, like the old games. It like takes skill to play a Mega Man game.
Yeah, I don't think that it's too hard. I just think
It's not one of those
it
games
points
like,
out
"Oh,
how
fuck
bad
this
we've all
game,
got.
Yeah, I think it
How
does point out how
complacent.
bad we've all gotten at games because I don't think they've really changed the design. I also played Mega Man X Maverick Hunter today for the first time, and I love Mega Man X on the Super Nintendo. It's one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. But holy fuck, this game is very different from the because I knew where everything was in Mega Man X, and they've changed the levels designs just a little bit, and I don't know where the fuck anything is anymore because they pulled all the suit upgrades. I think they moved them to different areas, and there's different ways to access them now, which is completely annoying.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but the last time I got, I don't know, it was when you were still working at GameStop. I don't know if you remember. I came through there and I bought the Mega Man X collection.
Yeah.
I played Mega Man X on there, and then shortly after that, I got Maverick Hunter on Allison's PSP,
Yeah.
and it was pretty much the same.
It's pretty much the same, but there's some they've tweaked it, and they said it's a little bit different of a game
I like
because
the way
it's
it
based
looks,
off of Mega Man X.
I like the way it looks, though.
I still prefer the Super Nintendo version graphically.
Well, the other problem I think, and
They added a plot, more of a plot. There's
Well-
more story because there's cutscenes and there's video and
I feel like because even playing Patapon on the Vita, that game looks like ass. It did not look like ass on the PSP.
Well, it's all emulated.
Well,
Though.
yeah, it's emulated. It's also the screen. The screen is it's not the same. The resolution isn't compatible.
Yeah.
So it's like it's everything looks muddy. So I would imagine that Maverick Hunter doesn't look as good as it should.
Yeah.
So.
And the other game I played was Darksiders was free to download and play. And I know me and Mike have talked a little about this earlier today about my feelings about this game, and I'm enjoying it. I think it's interesting so far. But I compared it to Devil May Cry and to God of War. And Mike, I know, doesn't see my Devil May Cry connection, and I meant the Devil May Cry connection in the way that when the rooms lock off and the barriers go up and they do that swooping camera thing like Devil May Cry does, like the original, the first game, I just thought that was, like, it made me giggle, because I was like, that's such a Devil May Cry thing to do.
I see that. I understand what you're talking about, because I saw it when I was playing it today. I saw it once. I think that happens less and less as the game goes on, because
it was the first time it happened. I was just like, man, that's like, and the collecting orbs and collecting souls thing is kind of similar.
Well, I now, like, obviously, like we said when we were on Twitter, like talking about it in like this, yeah, I see what you're saying, but I get the God of War probably because
it's way more like God of War than anything else. But it's so much like God of War.
What I was going to say is God of War does all the stuff that you were talking about Devil May Cry doing. God of War does that too. So it's like it was. I guess it was more because the game as a whole has more in common with God of War.
Yeah,
I guess than Devil May Cry.
Does,
so I was like,
it's just it was one of those things when I was looking at it. I was like,
that's
man,
what it reminded
it just
you
has
of.
elements. I mean, technically, they're all the same kind of genre of games. They're those hack and slash action adventure games. So there are going to be similarities across the board between all of them.
What I'm interested in seeing is, because you said you played for an hour, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one thing I like so far is the fact that it's got a open world but closed off type of a feel to it. From what I can tell, it just seems like you have areas that you can kind of have a leeway around of traversing around at points.
Well, I've the two comparisons I've heard with Darksiders is God of War, and I'm really interested in you playing this game because I want to.
I'm interested too because I could really give two craps about God of War. I would like to have a hack and slash type of a game that I could actually get into.
I want to see if I want to see if you, when you play this game, if you agree with this. I've heard it from many sources. They've thrown out God of War from a combat standpoint, but from a world, mission structure, dungeon stuff, it's been likened to Zelda. Because you go into a dungeon. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never.
Well, I'll keep that in mind while I'm playing.
I'm just saying I've never played a Zelda game, okay? But I get when you guys have explained it to me, it's you go into a dungeon, you get you work your way in, you get yourself a new toy. There's usually like a boss or a mini boss that you use the toy on,
and then the toy is useless for the rest of the game.
Well, this game,
the toy gets you into the next dungeon.
Yes,
and then you don't really use it again.
Not God of War, Darksiders, exact same thing.
Huh? I would be okay with that.
So I'm wondering, like, as you play it, if you'll notice that, if you'll agree with it, because like even today when I started playing it again today because. I wanted to be able to, because last time I played it was like around November or something, and I wanted to be able to talk about it, having just played it, and I went into a dungeon, and I could see all these grapple points all over the place, but they were all inaccessible because I didn't have the toy, but the level, I was fighting spider monsters, and there's spider webs all over the place, so you work your way down into the dungeon, and sure enough, there's a giant spider down at the bottom, and when you kill the giant spider, you get the grapple hook. And then all of a sudden, all those points become usable, and you can traverse all over this little area, and then you move on, and you go and fight the final boss in that area. Then you go back, and then the guy sends you on another quest into another dungeon where you get another toy. So I'm just interested to see if you get that analogy. And
Like I said, I've only gotten an hour into it so far.
Right.
So, and I have a feeling I'm probably not going to get. I think I've basically gone as far as I'm probably going to go with it over the next couple weeks. Because I mean, next week's BioShock, and pretty much fuck everything once that game comes out. Because that is all I'm doing.
Danner, you will be missed.
Yeah. I won't have anything pertinent to give you at all next week except for my opening impressions of BioShock. Also, my goal is I kind of want to see if I can knock another game out between now and Tuesday. And I really, really want to get Assassin's 3 off my plate.
Well, you know what we can do?
What part of Assassins are you on? Do you remember?
Nowhere close.
Okay.
I am right now. I'm swimming out to not decommission those 2 boats that are out in the harbor. That are firing. Into the city.
If you just do story, you can probably knock that out. Like if you just say
I
screw
don't
everything
know how
else.
to just do story in these games. I like the collecty, junky, heroin addict portion of the games where they just put shiny things in front of your face, and I was like, ooh,
It's like
you can collect
you go to do something and then you hear that like
4.5 hours
digitalness of
collecting meaningless crap in a game.
See, I can do that. Like, anything that comes across my path, I will collect. If I'm like Assassin's Creed, for example, if there's like a journal page and it's on my way to my destination, yeah, I'll chase it. But if I lose it or whatever, I won't like sit there and wait for it to respawn. I'll just
see.
go back to
Sometimes
what
like
I'm doing.
I'll be running around like, oh, I hear a feather. I go find it. I'm like, you know what I should do? I should get all the feathers. La, 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 la. And it's like 2 hours later, I'm like, what was I doing before? I was doing something before. It was very important. Pretty sure I was saving, the Union.
You know what I just learned about Assassin's Creed 3 today? That you can build a team of assassins and have them on your left bumper. I got that one butcher, and that was the only other assassin that I ever encountered. Like, I didn't find how to recruit any others.
Oh my god!
It
I
never
have
presented itself to me.
I have the full thing. That was ever since.
I've only found 3 so far.
Ever since, I have all of them. Ever since Brotherhood, I get those guys first as fast as possible because I love using them.
I have them because Shanzi told me about them.
It didn't at all tell me that was a game mechanic. Like, I don't
even know how to find the rest of them.
If you go into a town and like say it'll you'll see a bunch of soldiers escorting a prisoner, and it'll be like, oh, free so many prisoners.
Okay.
That is a challenge you have to complete in order to unlock the guy in that area, the resistance fighter in that area.
Okay. Well,
So,
to go
when it gets later, like into New York City, some of them are freaking annoying. Like, kill rabid dogs. Fuck, you just got to run into them. I guess they released a patch and it made those things easier to find. Because I guess there was a bunch of people going like, "Where's I only have half the assassins."
I found them all.
Interesting.
Because I told you where they were.
Well, but I found the missions.
Likely story.
So, I didn't know what have you been doing?
Nothing new, but me and Booth have been getting back into, now it's called Iron Brigade. It was Trenched
on Xbox Live.
On Xbox Live arcade game. And it's such a fun game. There's nothing really too complicated concept. You're in basically a mech that is powered with World War II technology. There's an engine strapped on the back, and you can choose different weapons. You can choose different chassis and stuff, and you have the ability to place emplacements. Yeah, sure, that works.
It's
and it's like a tower defense game.
Yeah.
But you can run around and shoot yourself. You can make this big, awesome, huge mech that has tons of firepower, but you can't place shit for turrets. Or you can put this little speedy dude who can put a bunch of different turrets, but he himself is weak. And wave after different maps, different enemy types, different ways you have to play. It'll every couple levels it'll throw a new guy at you, oh, that gun you love using, yeah, doesn't work on this guy because there's a guy in the back who protects everyone in front of him and makes him immortal until you kill that guy right in the back. But we've been playing through that, and you can play up to 4 people co-op. So it's just really fun, and me and Mike are just waiting to start they had a DLC for it, and we're gonna start that pretty soon.
Yeah, it came out like a year ago.
A while ago,
I played
yeah.
the demo for it a while back. I
Yeah.
couldn't get into it.
The game gets better.
Yeah, it's tough to get into. Like we stopped.
Once you start unlocking new toys in the game, it becomes instantly more fun.
But even then, it's kind of like the loot in Borderlands, where
Gotta get better.
It's that whole I want to find something better, but even then, if you find something, it's like it might not necessarily be better. Like
Stats might be better, but it might not work as
it's
like you want it to.
And it took, I don't know, maybe it was just like the time of year, like I just needed something to play, or I wanted something to play with Shanzi online. But we started it up again, and we started from the beginning, so that I could learn the ropes again. And
Yeah.
it's not an overly complicated game, but it's like one of those. I had so many parts in my inventory when I started up that I just sold.
Didn't know
everything.
how things worked anymore.
Yeah, I didn't know what was good, so I just sold everything, and then I had enough money in my bank from selling all the crap that I had that I could just buy what I wanted. So money became useless at that point, much like Borderlands. But no, it's a lot of fun. I guess you have to like tower defense games to some degree. I mean, there is a whole third person shooter-esque thing to it, but it reminds me, or really makes me want a 4-player co-op Armored Core. But then again, I haven't played an Armored Core that I liked since I think Armored Core 2 on the PlayStation. So, 'cause I remember like I got 3 when it came out on the PlayStation 2, and it felt like they slowed everything way down, and I was just dying constantly. So I was like, this isn't fun anymore. But nope, it's good fun.
Playing that reminds me of, I was telling Mike about this, Chrome Hounds. It was like a very early release for the 360.
I vaguely remember that.
And
I remember that.
Yeah, and the single player of it sucked, but the multiplayer was so fun because you'd get guys that would build these enormous, obnoxious things that like it's basically just a big triple barrel, gun with tiny little legs, can't move. But if he somehow manages to shoot you, you're screwed.
And it's made by Double Fine.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually one of the only reasons it showed up on my radar is because it's part of Double Fine's we're going to make little downloadable games.
Yeah.
So
there's that. What was it last week, Mike, that we played Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
Well, we tried to play Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Hey, we had fun.
For the third, until it crashed.
No, we had fun until we actually tried to play the story, and then it was like, nope.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what to do. I'm fine with starting over. I just have to figure out how to start over with New Game Plus. So I
think if you start a new game, it gives you the option to load a save file.
I'll have to try that.
I haven't done that in I don't know how long.
Because I got Allie on board to sit down on the couch next to me and play it. So maybe we can get Danner to find some free time and be the fourth person, or Joe.
That's a possibility.
So, but I did show Shanzi the glitch, or not really the glitch, with the leveling the characters up.
Shit. The with Thor and Storm.
Or Iceman in the danger room stuff. Yeah,
that was just really funny. He's like, do it, and it took me a while to get going because I don't ever use that. And then I did it. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, what do I do? I'm like, my thumb's hurting. I can't do it. I feel like that one episode of South Park when they're playing Warcraft, put some Ben Gay on it.
But we took Hulk and Hawkeye from level 1 to
15 or something.
I think it was like 25.
Did it get up that high?
Yeah, because we did it
maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah. So and then we were gonna go and just start playing, and we were gonna.
And then the game crashed.
Well, first of all, we couldn't even figure out how to get to where we needed to go.
Yeah, cool. Because I don't blame the game. I blame because
myself.
We haven't played that in forever.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we gonna do? I got no idea. Just keep going to the red arrows.
It doesn't help that I was like, skip the cutscenes.
Yeah, you're skipping everything. God, I don't know what we're doing.
I don't think the story would have. I don't think the cutscenes would have pointed us in the right direction, anyways.
But they're so cool.
And I really want to play Earth Defense Force again.
Yes, definitely. That I picked up Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. I found one, so I got it. So I'm waiting because that's a good co-op game I could play through with my girlfriend. Because like we played through Halo 4 together, and I love her to death, but oh my God, was that excruciating. I felt so bad. Because she has never in her life played a first-person shooter that involved 2 analog sticks. It's funny now. Like she's like, how do I aim up and down? And then I look over and she's aiming at her feet, holding down the trigger. Ah!
I remember Jason and his wife Katie were over when Orange Box had just come out, and we were playing Team Fortress 2. She was like, "Here, I want to try." So we handed her the controller, and she chose the medic, and she spawns into the game, and she's standing there, and you know everyone's like pushing up on the D-pad or whatever, and they're yelling, "Help! I need help over here!" And she's like, "Where are they?" And she spins around in a circle and points at the ceiling, and then darts come flying out of her gun, and she's painting everything but anyone that's asking for help, and she's got no clue what's going on. And Jason and I are just like in the fetal position laughing so hard, and she's like, "Stop laughing at me!" And then you know they're like, "We need a medic over here," and she's like, "I don't know where you are." Oh, it was fun to watch her flail around.
So there's that. I've also been playing through Saints the Third again, just because watching the trailer for Saints Row 4 has like re-inspired how just fun that game is to just go in and just mess around, not even do anything, just go. Like I forgot some of the controls. Like I forget what it's called. It's like the extreme button. When you hold it down, you do whatever action, or you do it extremely. And I ran over and kicked a guy's balls into his throat. Like I was like, that's why I like this game. Ball kicking. So there's that. Playing a little bit more Battlefield. Not much though. I love that game. I just wish more people played it than I know, because no one talks in that game except in party chat. No one. And every once in a while you will hear a voice, and it just got like preppy white boys going, "Come on!"
Or it's someone playing music.
Yes, somebody playing really loud, really shitty music. Like if it was a good song, I'd be totally fine with it. But it's like I went to a game the other day. Somebody's playing dubstep. That doesn't match with Battlefield at all.
No, that's a Call of Duty thing.
Yeah, of course. So that's about it. Oh, I've been playing Plants vs Zombies on the Xbox. I downloaded it a long time ago, and then for some reason never played it. So I was looking through my games one day when I was going to play some Iron Brigade by myself, and I was like, "Oh my God, I forgot I did this." So I started playing through it. I'm like up to the part where it's like they're giving you all the shrooms because it's nighttime. God, that's annoying. I do like giving them the trippy shrooms that turn them like onto your side. That's funny.
All right. Well, we can take a break for a Grand Con ad, and we can come back on the other side and get to the retrospective part. Finally.
I blame Danner.
I blame myself.
I blame Mike.
Coming to Grand Rapids, Michigan on September 21st and 22nd is GrandCon Gaming and Comics Convention, presented by Celebration Cinemas. Join us in playing or chatting it up with fellow enthusiasts in a community that understands your passions. Get lost in the adventure of your favorite role-playing game. Admire costumes and art from vendors and attendees. Meet the creators behind your favorite mainstream and independent games and comic books. Check out unpublished games and sneak peek at things to come. You can get all this and more at GrandCon. For more information, please visit www.grand-con.com.
Welcome back. Are we recording?
Yeah, I didn't stop.
He doesn't stop.
Okay. Welcome back
we will now be going into part 3 of the evolution of handheld gaming. Tonight is to dual screen or not to dual screen.
That is the question.
That is the question. It's gonna. Our list has grown quite short because the releases of systems have dwindled. The further down the list we get, and then we'll start with November 21st, 2004. Nintendo introduces us to dual screens and touch controls with the Nintendo DS. Hits the market at $149.99.
And nobody knows what to do with it.
I was gonna say, I know this is to me this is gonna be the far more interesting portion of these discussions because both me and Joe were working at GameStop when these handheld systems came out, and we're there for the launches. And
so you got like your fingers on the pulse of what actually happened.
Now, Joe, did you
retail wise
a DS at launch?
Yep.
I know I got a day one DS.
Yep, I was. I remember that day very clearly because everybody who worked there got one, and as soon as anybody came in, we immediately went back, opened it up, and plugged it in to charge it in the back room.
Was the first color? Were they all silver?
They were all silver.
Okay.
At launch.
I hated the launch DS.
The launch DS was fucking terrible.
And we didn't know any better.
Well, yeah, that's all we knew. And what was the first game that you bought for your DS?
Did I buy one?
What was the first game you got?
When you got a DS, what was the first game that you wanted to play on the DS?
Man, that's I have to look at a list. I know I was excited about Yoshi Touch and Go, even though I knew it was a tech demo.
I think
I wanted to see it.
The first 2 games, actually 3 games I bought were Mr. Drill or Drill Spirits.
That's worth a lot of money now.
No, it's not. It goes for absolutely nothing on eBay. I've checked. I have 2 copies.
I might need one. I couldn't find mine.
Nintendogs.
Yep, I did buy Nintendogs.
And Trauma Center.
Gosh, the dating simulator that came out for it, that was weird. That's not what I'm.
That's creepy.
Whoa, oh God, what was the name of that?
The minigame one.
Touch the Magic? Feel the Magic.
That was
a different game. Feel the Magic was fucking creepy. In a very Japanese, demeaning women type of a way.
What the hell was that noise?
That was the noise from the game.
That was the noise from the game.
Oh, God.
Whenever you're like a little... God, my memory of this is so vague. I need to go dig it out and see if I still have it. But you were a little black polygon man, and you were dating this girl, and you, at one point, were bringing her goldfish, and you tripped, and you swallowed the goldfish, and so you had to rub the touch screen. You had to puke up the goldfish by rubbing them out your esophagus, and there was one you were unicycling across a roof, and you had to balance on this little line, and if you got too close to the edge, he'd make the sound.
Yeah, it was.
Man, hoping that's the only time he made that noise.
Nope.
Oh.
It
fade to black.
I think the Nintendo DS was also my first true introduction to how bad shovelware could be. Because at the time, PS2 was the king of shovelware at the time. Because everybody could develop for the PS2 and put shit out for the PS2. And I didn't realize how bad it could get until the DS came out. Because I think that was the worst amount of shovelware I've ever seen for a system until the Wii came out.
I was going to say, Wii says hi.
Yeah, no, trust me. It was something that it really was epitomized for the DS, but it was took on a whole new meaning for low price D-list titles for the Wii. But it was, I think the DS was the originator of Nintendo kind of taking over the shovelware version of things, taking it away from the PS2.
I think a lot of that was people not knowing what to do with it and just throwing shit at the wall.
Oh yeah, and it was like,
Rancid.
yo, God, that was a problem. There were so many games that came out for the system, and so many of them were bad. Like the
You had to
system
wade through the shit to find the worthy ones.
it wasn't that hard because it was
And for us
working at the game store, you could tell what was good and what wasn't
Yeah.
because, or what I should say, what they anticipated to be good, because if you knew it was going to be crap on launch day, you got 1 to 2 copies of the game. If it was gonna anticipated to be good, you would get 6 copies of the game, and most likely the game wasn't gonna be good if you got 6. Now, if you got like 15 or 20 copies of the game when it came out, that was gonna be a hot seller. But every time we got 15 or 20 games with it, the publisher on the box was Nintendo.
So they're just pushing them.
But it is one of those things that it's been the case for a lot of Nintendo systems, especially for the Wii. If Nintendo's name is on the box, there's a really good chance there's going to be a much higher quality game there. But there's very few third parties that you could trust on the DS system. I was going to say the worst major company I can think of is a developer that was the worst with the DS, but made a really good effort of putting out a bunch of games. But every single one of them were terrible. Was Ubisoft.
That was good. Yeah.
I was going to say Ubisoft put out a lot of really good looking games.
Yeah, they were Nintendo's butt buddy for a long time.
Yeah, the packaging was nice. It looked nice. The moment you put it in your system, you're like, oh my God, what's wrong with these people? Like, just every single Ubisoft game I think I ever played on the DS was just fucking atrocious. The Splinter Cell games, the Ghost Recon. I think there was a Ghost Recon. I just remember like the Ubisoft ones being bad, and then the Ubisoft got into the what was it? The pets and the dogs and the cats and then goldfish, and then it was like, fucking stop. Why do we need a pet game for every fucking pet that's ever been created in the history of the world? I was waiting for the camels game though, because I would have totally bought that if you could spit at people.
I didn't buy a DS until summer of 2006 after the DS Lite was announced.
I was gonna say the moment the DS Lite came out, I traded in me and Janelle's old system, and we bought a pink and a white one, which I still have to this day.
I actually I pre-ordered the DS Lite from your GameStop, Danner.
Yes, you did.
And I had moved back home, and it had come out, and I was like, I don't even know if I really freaking want it. But I was like, you know what? No, I can drive over there and get it, and maybe Danner will be there.
I remember you came in and you bought it, and then I believe you bought Star Fox.
Yes, I did. I was gonna. That was my first game. I think my second game was Clubhouse Games.
Clubhouse Games.
I enjoyed Clubhouse Games.
Yes.
I recently went back and played Clubhouse Games a month ago, and it is the worst fucking looking piece of shit I have ever seen on a DS. I don't know if it's because it's been so long since I played a DS game, but I could not get over how bad the graphics were.
I was gonna say I don't remember it looking especially good. I just remember it being fun.
All I could do while looking at it was think of how atrocious it looked.
I just remember it was just a whole bunch of games.
Yeah,
I like the bowling and the darts. It was also a lot of fun to play those games multiplayer over Nintendo's network after you exchanged your friend codes.
Yep. I still hate friend codes.
But
yeah, that's stupid.
I think Star Fox, Star Fox was the first one. I really enjoyed that. I didn't finish it. And then I had Harvest Moon, which was fun. I bought Final Fantasy 3, which I also pre-ordered at your store.
Final Fantasy 3 is another game I bought for the system.
I pre-ordered at your store, but I didn't pick it up at your store. I picked it up at the store here, and I remember being really irritated with the guy because he wouldn't transfer my pre-order.
He couldn't.
Well, he said he couldn't. I thought I remember
you could do it over the phone.
Yeah,
but most GameStop employees are, if it involves doing more work than they're willing to do, which is most things, they'll be douchey about it.
Yeah, well, see, I was irritated about that, but I still picked it up anyways.
They're not known for going above and beyond.
I think the last
Joe was one of the few people that I would.
I was gonna say, like, I've the one I have near me just has like a bunch of awesome guys working at it, so they've gone like way out. Like I've had like brand new copies of games where I've fucked the disc up, and they just like they go, huh, open up another copy and switch the cases because I had the collector's edition or whatever.
The GameStop I used to go to that's now closed. I used to have a bunch of awesome people in it, but they slowly started sending those people to other stores instead of having like a collection of them in one. So I was
They're like, you guys have raised the bar too high.
We need to
We're gonna
spread
need
you
to
out.
split you all up and spread you out because
It's like
you're
Hot Fuzz.
making the
You
rest
make
of
us
the
all look
stores.
bad.
Yeah.
so, the last game I bought for my DS was Radiant Historia. I bought it because it was likened to Chrono Trigger, and it's not. I don't want to say it's a lot like Chrono Trigger, but it's spiritually
like it?
yes, it's spiritually like Chrono Trigger, and the combat was a lot of fun. It deals with time travel like Chrono Trigger, only it deals more in the parallel universe aspects of time travel than linear time travel. So you jump to the side.
It's like Sliders.
I guess I've never seen Sliders.
Oh, you're
What?
missing out.
But
How do you not see sliders?
It operates on that. It operates on that principle that time, like every time you make a decision, time splits, and there's a new universe made. So
Yeah.
you can
There's a universe for every
choice that you
outcome of
make.
every decision. Yeah.
Yes. So you jump across to one, and you might move a rock in that one, and then you can jump back, and the rock will be moved in your story or something. I played it. I mean, the game came out February of 2011, and that's about the last time I've played my DS. Allison has been playing it a lot, though. She's been playing Pokemon.
I want to say the last game I bought was Dementium, which is super, super creepy. It takes place in like an insane asylum, and all you have is like a flashlight to traverse the entire place. Oh, it's fucking fantastic.
I will say, like the Super Nintendo, the best game I think I played on the DS was actually Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Chrono Trigger on the DS is amazing, and also I also own the first Professor Layton game,
Those are great.
which I really enjoyed the first one. I didn't finish it, but I did enjoy that. Like the games, and Scribblenauts. I kind of paid attention to the games that came out like later when people were figuring out what type of things to do with the touchscreen.
Yeah.
And the ones that I thought were doing like innovative stuff, like the puzzles, I thought those were the ones that were the best. So, but it was good.
One of the interesting things that the DS did, well, two things I guess that I would like to discuss: the accidental resemblance or intentional resemblance to the Game and Watch games, where those had the dual screens and the D-pads on either side. The DS kind of brought that back, even the clamshell closing thing. That was kind of an interesting throwback to something they did in the 80s. And I don't know, you guys want to address the dual screen part of it, besides the fact that developers had no idea what to do with it in the beginning? Because I mean, that was like, I remember when the thing was coming out thinking, they said it was going to do something that nobody had ever done before, and so we're all trying to figure out, is it going to be 3D? Hey, wait a minute, the 3DS came out. What is it going to do that it has these two screens? And then they came out with the two screens and realized, what's so innovative about that? And indeed, I think, well, one, to answer the initial question about all the crappy shovelware at launch, I think that system got launched about 6 months to a year earlier than the developers had anticipated, and that there was a lot of tech demos that got wrongly stretched into complete, but still managed to be incomplete games. And I think that accounted for a lot of the shovelware in the beginning. After that, just with Nintendo's relaxing their standards
assurance
for what can get on the system, and encouraged grandmas buying games for their sons and daughters and granddaughters and grandsons to.
Isn't the DS when Nintendo changed their seal of quality?
It was before that.
Yeah.
I think that the GameCube was where they were starting to relax again, and developers were still scared of them. But
Well,
when
that's
the
because
DS
the
sold,
quality. I think in the GameCube, Joe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't in the GameCube generation when the Nintendo quality seal moved from being on the front of the games to being on the back of the
And
game?
it didn't even say quality seal.
it doesn't say
anymore.
quality seal anymore. But let me go grab a GameCube game here.
Because I want to say, like on the back of Smash Brothers Melee, I could have swore that there's a seal on the back of Melee.
It's a Nintendo official seal to let you know
Oh.
that it's an actual game, but it's not the Nintendo seal of quality
It's an
anymore.
actual game. This is not a fake game.
It happens. But I don't know what keeps people from just not printing that seal on it. But
I was gonna say, I remember with the original DS's, the microphone, especially for the voice activated games like Nintendogs, was so bad on the original systems that like it made Nintendogs really difficult to play.
I think that was more the voice recognition software. I
Yeah.
remember trying to get in Brain Age when Blue came on the screen. It had a hard time understanding what
Yep.
Blue was, so you had to end up doing it with a horribly racist accent. Brew!
Oh.
Brew.
Big Brain Academy
Jaywalk.
was another game I really liked.
Yeah. I was really impressed with because I think later in the life, and I think Joel will agree with this, that once people knew what to do with the system, that everybody at GameStop was playing Cooking Mama when it first came out. I remember going over to James's house and like me, Chad, and James all sitting there just playing Cooking Mama.
Dude, were you at James' apartment that first night at launch? At the party he threw?
No, I only heard about the thing that Tim did. The
I don't remember what Tim did. You're gonna have to tell us that.
When they were
But-
all doing Picto Chat.
Yeah. Well, so we all have our DSs charged. It's 9:30 at night, and we close the store, and we all go to James's apartment. And at one point in the evening, after the guys got smashed, and I'm just sitting there not getting smashed, we all networked on PictoChat, and we're in the room together, but we're typing and sending and drawing pictures, and every once in a while the crude elementary school penis would get sent out to everybody, and everybody ha 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 ha. And I decide, since I have a reasonably developed skill at drawing, I spend some time doing some rendering on my little PictoChat screen, and so I fully render as much as you can with the PictoChat screen, send out a drawing of spread legs, hairy vagina out to everybody in the room. It gets, if it wasn't quiet before, it got silent before the rest. Everybody just started laughing out there, and I think I labeled it Chad's mom or something like that. And they're like, ha ha ha. And what somebody said, Joe, you were awfully quiet over there. I knew you were up to something, and just what was capable on that. And I think the whole PictoChat thing was something that maybe would have taken off more in Japan. I don't think us Americans really got that. We don't have a lot of public transportation where people are walking around with their systems on looking for chat people.
They kind of merged that into the Miiverse on the
Mhm.
Wii U.
Yeah.
When you're posting on the forum for a particular game in the Miiverse, or you're just chatting, you can write out your question, or you can send out a picture, or you can use the keyboard and type something out. You don't have to, it's just another way to use the touchscreen on the Wii U. But you can do like diagrams of a map to point out like an exact spot you're having problems with, or you can try and throw the picture of the penis or the vagina up there. It'll probably get flagged, and some people were doing some really impressive artwork that on there. It was kind of neat. So, but I think that the PictoChat idea got merged into the Miiverse.
Yeah. And I think once I don't remember. You can edit that part. Or not.
No, that's staying.
So Anyone else have anything? I mean, I like the DS. I didn't like the first one. I've liked all the models after.
I think the DS was pretty much responsible for killing any love I really had that was left for handheld gaming. Because I just felt like there was so much garbage that kind of came out for the system. It kind of got really difficult to weed out what was good and what was terrible, and there was way more terrible than there was good on the system.
Well, that's what I would say about the PS2, but I think, and I say this as a reasonably educated person who worked at the retail place, I could find the good stuff through all the garbage, and I helped many a mothers find the good stuff through the garbage on that system.
And it was, if something was good, it was pretty well known. And like I said, a lot of my biggest issues is anything that came out on the system. And if you went out and spent the $35 on it when you came out, you were dumb because everything was down to $20 within 3 to 4 months, with the exception of the Nintendo games on that system. Like the prices dropped on those games so fast because there was such a saturated market. But yeah, it's third party development. It kind of killed it for me for that system because it was just there's so much coming out for that system.
Well, I think it was a seriously strong system for a lot of the Japanese RPG type games. I think Chrono Trigger got remade for that, and
yep,
the definitive version
with the video in it. That was incredible.
That and I think they redid the soundtrack too. They remastered it from. They used the same audio from the PlayStation version.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a good system for like RPG fans because there was a lot of really
puzzle,
a lot
games.
of good reissues that came out for that system.
Like Radiant Historia, we talked about that earlier. That's another great RPG. So
Final Fantasy 3, that was good. The redo of that was good.
Although I wish it had been actually, I was kind of bummed that it was actually Final Fantasy 3 and not 6.
You preaching to the choir, man. I've been waiting for that would be because they rumored that was going to be on the 3DS and they still have yet to release it because that would be one of the few things that might get me to buy a 3DS.
I want one of those, but I don't have a good reason.
Same here. We'll get there next week or 2 weeks from now. So any final closing thoughts on the DS?
Are you including the DSi?
Wasn't that
and the ridiculously idiotic DSi XL?
Oh, we can talk about the DSi and the DSi XL. I don't really see a point of talking about camera software
and a larger screen.
My favorite part were all the little children that would come in crying saying, I want the DSi XL, and the parents who had no clue that it was the exact same system for
just bigger
old people in nursing homes who were playing Brain Age.
Yep.
I like the bigger screen.
I don't care because it's the same resolution.
Yeah. No, I get that. I don't know.
So at that point, it's not really making it any bigger because I just hold it further away from me so the graphics don't look like crap. But yeah, I think that was a sign of Nintendo starting to do some shady things that have made me have much, much less respect for them, are re-releasing the same system with tiny iteration differences.
I'm surprised we haven't seen 6 versions of the 3DS yet.
Oh, well, they came out with the big one.
I think they took a page. I mean, even since the N64, they've been kind of aping Apple.
Yeah.
So Apple does that. I mean, they've got minor differences between different models, and they have drastically different price points. I mean, at least Nintendo doesn't really do the drastically different price points, but it's the same thing. It's just slightly tweaked.
Colors annoy me as a collector, but I think it's a good idea to do that. I mean, the Play It Loud series of Game Boys really showed them how beneficial that can be to business.
I get that. I just see it as like a huge waste of resources.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to imagine, like, how many of each one do they have to make, and the one that doesn't sell, like, that's just waste. I don't know. It's just like, I'm not even saying like I'm like I'm not exactly eco-friendly. I'm just saying like one of the things that sometimes I think about when people are like, why don't they produce like all these different colors for the iPhones? Why are they only white and black? Well, because how many millions of people buy those devices? And
how many cases are there?
Yeah, I mean,
and how many people didn't buy the brown Zune?
Yeah, but I
like my brown Zune.
I like my brown Zune too.
So, but no, I agree. But like I said, I have actually had two DSs. I had a white one, and then I got I think I either traded it in because I was like done, or I gave it to my little brother. But when I got Chrono Trigger, I also bought a brand new DS. I got the silver one because that was like the new color for that year. So
I need 2 white DSs for my store display kiosk that I have.
I can get you a white DS.
I would like one.
Yes.
I will do whatever I have to get those.
No. Oh.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
It's free that way.
It only costs your dignity.
Nah, that was gone a long time
That was
ago.
gone.
I'm a school teacher. I have no dignity.
All right.
What he
Sony.
does have is access to kids.
All right.
That's a terrible joke.
All right.
So when did the PSP come out in relation to the DS?
On March 24th, 2005, Sony enters the handheld market for the first time, introducing us to the PSP UMDs and a cartridge that most small children are too dumb to figure out for the price of $249.99.
Hey, Shanzi, along with those dumb children, why don't you share your story?
Yeah.
Oh, please tell me you're one of those idiots that peeled apart the plastic and then put the disc in.
No, it's better than that actually.
Because we had plenty of those artards come into the store. I had a kid buy a PSP. The moment he walked out of the store, he bought I think it was like Daxter or something like that. Brand new game. Literally walks out the store for 5 minutes, comes back and goes, I can't get this to work. I was like, well, let me take a look at it. Pop open the back, and then in the back,
just a disc.
It's just a disc because he cracked the UMD case open and grabbed the disc and tossed it in the back of the system. And I was like, dude, they're cartridges. You just pop them in. Well, but it was a disc. I was like, yeah, you're not supposed to peel that apart. Well, it didn't say not to do that, but it didn't say to do that, did it?
I guess the whole UMD
Can you
thing,
replace this? No, man. It was a brand new game. It was the last copy. You're screwed. Have a nice day.
Yeah, my instance of idiocy was back when gaming magazines actually came with demo discs. I had a copy of PlayStation Magazine that came with, instead of a PlayStation, I was playing PlayStation 2 at that time. Instead of a PlayStation demo disc, it came with a demo disc for some Killzone game for PSP. I had never played a PSP. I didn't own one. Nobody I knew had one. I'd never held one in my hands. So I look at it, and I see this little white case. I'm like, huh. Instantly put my fingernails on top and just ripped it in half. like, huh. And I was kind of like thinking to myself, like, God, this could get scratched so easy. I don't understand how they keep
Where are you supposed to put it now?
Yeah, oh, I broke the case to it. And it wasn't until I think like a year later where I actually got my hands on a PSP. And I was like, and I was like, wow, I'm so glad I did that to that demo disc like a year ago.
Man, I'm
instead
glad
of doing it to an actual game now.
I'm glad you never had a mini disc player. I had one. I liked it. It was neat.
Now, who here owned a PSP?
I did.
I own one now.
I did
Okay.
for about Allison did so I did for probably 6 months.
Okay. Now I had a PSP 1000. One of the original models. All I remember, I enjoyed it, and I almost enjoyed it. I don't know if I enjoyed it. I would say I'd go as far to say I enjoyed it more than the
Yes.
DS. It was a decent system.
I mean, I enjoyed some of the games for it. But the PSP, I was gonna say, as far as games went, had a ton of games come out like in the first 2 years of the system, and then just games stopped coming out. And then it was
Bupkis.
like you'd get one or two releases like every month for the system. But
It can't.
once like the crap stopped coming out in the first 2 years, and there was only like one or two releases a month for the system. The games that came out were actually pretty good. Like the quality went up. Some people argue that the PSP system actually has the best God of War games.
Chains of Olympus was really good.
Yes, Chains of Olympus is good.
I like that a lot.
I have both of them on the PS3. I have not played the second one. So, but I did play Chains of Olympus on a PSP.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that game.
There was what was the other one? The Final Fantasy Crisis Core.
Yep, played that too.
That was good.
That was good, except for the stupid squatting parts.
And,
I gotta squat now. Oh, now I gotta beat them with this umbrella stick.
there's Monster Hunter's Freedom. The
You know what I liked about the PSP that the Vita doesn't do? I can't hook it to my TV.
You couldn't hook it to the TV at launch either. That was a later PSP.
that was a
Yeah.
later model thing.
Yeah, I think that was a 3000.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the one I had then, because I remember
That
playing.
had that.
I
That
remember,
had that out.
It was also
that UV
lightweight.
Yeah.
I played Crisis Core on a 55-inch TV that looked
Jesus.
like shit.
I bet it did.
No offense to anyone here, it was a 55-inch rear projection TV, so it looked really bad.
Oh, I like my rear projection TV.
I don't have a rear projector.
There was a
I'm
lot
saying
of
no
really-
offense
really-
to anyone here. You just didn't want to say Danner's name.
There was a lot of really good, I think, innovative, interesting games. I think that was one of the nice things about the PSP was the fact that it was almost like the main people from Sony weren't paying attention and weren't controlling the content that was coming out to the system as much. So more interesting, innovative games, I think, or more indie feeling games came out to the system.
Mhm.
Like, I can't think of another system you would get a game like Patapon on.
I agree. I think that's kind of carried over to their current handheld too.
Yeah, and I think,
I think it's
that
carried over like everything
quirkiness.
Sony's doing.
I think there was a very interesting kind of quirkiness that came along with that system. That, like you said, I believe has carried over to the Vita, which was one of the selling points to me, was that knowing that quirkiness was there and coming down the line. Man, I'm trying to think of the one thing that the system does do that I fucking drives me insane about all the Sony handheld systems would be proprietary memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Pro Stick Duos and how fucking expensive they were when the
Yes,
system first came
God,
out.
yes.
I mean, like 3-4 years into the system, the memory pricing was not bad, but it was a matter of finding them at that point in time. Because it was like the longer the system was out, the smaller they realized the smaller memory cards were completely useless and would just drop them. And I know the nice thing about working at GameStop was the fact that the moment something went discontinued, we could slap a discount on it to get it out of the store. And I know that's how most of us got our bigger memory cards.
I remember that.
I fucking used that system for everything that it was worth.
Yeah.
And by that system, I of course mean GameStop, and I abused the shit out of. With the moment something went discontinued, I discounted it, and I was
like
like,
$2, and
I
then
don't care if it
mine.
goes. I don't care if it goes to a customer. I don't care if it goes to an employee. I just want it out of the store. Because I knew the quicker we got that crap out, the sooner we get new shit in. And it was the PSP 2000 and 3000 that connected to the TVs. It was not the 1000 was the only one that did not connect to TV.
That's the one I have.
Yeah, it had 1,000 also.
Oh.
Do you remember all of the terrible time we had with the launch units and the dead pixels,
Yeah, lots of
dead on
pixels.
arrival systems all
Yep.
over the place?
We had a lot of 1 to 2 pixels being out in a lot of the launch systems. A lot of pixel issues. They
There was a quirk with the PSP. Maybe you guys, I don't remember because, like I said, it's been 5 years since I've actually played with one. It wouldn't, like, when the battery went, you couldn't.
Oh, I hate this.
You couldn't update it without it being connected to power, or it wouldn't, like, if it. I can't remember. Like
What happens is if your system sits for a month, the battery dies. Like, okay, I have a DS over there that I haven't turned, not a DS, a Game Boy Advance SP that I haven't turned on for 3 years. If I go over there and turn that on, it'll still have a charge, but the PSP will die in a week or two. And what'll happen is I'll find a game that I want to play and I'll buy it and I'll take it home and I'll put it in the PSP. Oh, my PSP's dead. So I'll plug in the charger so that I can play it, but and it'll turn on when you plug it in, but it won't do the system install and update until it has a charge. And so I'm really excited to play the thing, but it
Now you
says,
have to
"I'm
wait."
sorry, you can't install the update because the battery's almost dead." And it just that frustrated me every time I've bought a game for that thing because I don't play it enough to keep it charged, and I can't play the game when I buy it because it needs to do a system install.
I don't remember. It wouldn't turn on for a little bit either, would it? Because I don't remember it turning right on.
No, it had to get it needed to be on the charge for 10 or 15 minutes. If the battery was completely dead,
Yeah.
you could put it on the charger, but it wasn't going to go on until it had enough of a charge to boot.
Now,
And then
Yeah.
even when it goes on, it won't. You can't do a system install until the battery's got sufficient charge. I think that is so that if you unplug it while it's
doesn't
installing, the thing will die.
mid update.
But that's a problem you've got to fix before the system launches, so that's not
Yeah.
a problem that you have.
well, the other problem is sometimes even my MacBook does this when I'm running on Windows to play SimCity. The battery won't charge. Because it's using too much power, that it'll just switch to the actual power supply and bypass
so
the
it just
battery
switches
altogether.
Yeah. So then you unplug it and your battery's still dead. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Well, yeah, I'll leave it plugged in and the light will stay orange for the 9, 10, 15 hours I'm playing the game, and it'll be orange that entire time saying that it's charging. I'm like, what? This is stupid. If I was on the other side and I was doing something, it would be charged, like 10 hours ago. But but what's weird is I bring that up, it bothered me 5 years ago. But now almost every electronic device does that. My phone does that, my iPad does that, the new Vita does that.
it's just become accepted.
I think it's just something I've gotten
No.
used to.
No, you're playing those ignorantly designed systems. Jenny's Android doesn't do that.
When the battery's
Ignorantly designed.
when the
systems.
battery's completely dead, she can plug it in and turn it right back on.
Yes, because that's how a system should be.
I don't even remember the Windows phone or the Nexus phone being that way, but okay. I mean, I believe you. I'm just every device I have it needs to get to 5% before it'll even turn back on. So, but the thing is,
See, that's dangerous on a phone.
not
Like if I go off on a ditch and I'm bleeding to death and I plug it into the cigarette lighter to get a charge and I have to wait 5 minutes for it before I can pick it up and make a phone call, that will kill people.
Why are you driving with a dead phone anyways?
I don't know. Maybe it died.
Why weren't you charging it in the car?
I don't know.
Maybe that's
Like,
why
I
he
just-
swerved off the road. He tried to plug it in and
That sounds like a personal problem.
giggity.
But I guess now it's just kind of, it's one of those things. Like every device, I noticed that, and it's weird. I guess it's because that's the way some batteries are designed now. Even I notice on my phone, if there's a point where I can take it off and I'll stay at 100% for like 2 or 3 hours, and there's a point where I can take it off and it'll be at 99% before I walk out the door.
Yeah.
It's because the battery will charge and then discharge and then charge again.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it does it just so it doesn't overcharge your battery.
Yeah,
I think it's a safety reason.
Yeah, but I guess I just noticed that because I'm using more devices that have non-replaceable batteries.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just become accepted. But when I say it has to get to 5%, I mean the phone's only off for like 2 minutes, and it comes right back. Plus, it turns on by itself. It will.
Yeah.
You don't have to power it on. It will come back on when it has the power to come back on. So if you go off the road and in a ditch, then you can just you can plug it in and then wait for it to come on, because it'll come it'll come on for you, and then you can be like, Siri, 911.
Did you say 411?
Yeah. Hey, if I can tell her I'm feeling lonely and she'll find me some escort services, I'm sure she can find 911 for me.
Did you say escort services?
But I think I like the PSP when I played it when Allie had it, and then she traded it. And I got interested in it again when they brought about the PSP Go. But I never bought one.
No, thank God.
I like the whole digital only thing. In fact, I've gone digital only with the Vita. I don't think I'll ever buy a physical copy for it. But that's because with handhelds, I've gotten used to not having to carry around games with me.
Yeah, it still scares me.
Yeah.
As a collector of physical things.
Yeah, I was talking to Mike about this the other day. It's I don't know. I like having it in my hands. I was telling how bummed I am at the slow die of in-game manuals. I just like having things in my hand.
It's not that I like it.
Yeah,
it's that
buddy.
I need it.
You see, that's worse. Anyways.
We could talk about all that stuff after we can hear about the new Xbox, which supposedly still has the always-on shit flying around it.
I'm kind of, until I hear whenever they do their conference, I'm just kind of letting whatever people say, so whatever they say.
Does anyone else have anything they want to say about the PSP?
I got a story. I used to have the original. I first had the original one, and then I later had the 3000. Now with the original one, my buddy showed me this interesting way to hack it, which you needed one of the Grand Theft Auto games to do it. I can't remember which one now that I'm trying to think. And we had emulators on ours. I was playing old NES games on my PSP.
Yeah, that didn't take the modding community long to figure out how to get into the PSP.
No, it was nice. I had all sort then I had him download, or he sent me an email with a file in it one day, and I go open up. He's like, "What's this?" He's like, "Oh, that's every comic that's ever been digitally uploaded from Marvel." I was like, sweet. So I would just I'd plug my thing into the adapter into my computer and be like, okay, I'm going to move all of the Spider-Man ones in, and then I could read them on a PSP. And it worked almost like the comic book readers for phones now work, where it's it'll show you a panel, and then when you hit the button, it moves to the next panel. Then it moves to the next panel. Then it zooms out, shows you the whole page. Then it goes to the next page, zooms in, first panel, second panel, out, whole page. It was freaking awesome.
Okay, I didn't care for the nub.
This nub was stupid. That's why I don't even know.
Yeah, the nub is a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Now you're talking the analog stick on the.
No, that's it's not a stick. It's a nub.
Nubbin.
Well, it was better than the little thumb button that strapped onto your thumb, and then you reached all the way around the D-pad and onto the touchscreen to do your analog movement on the DS for Metroid Prime Hunters.
Never did that. Never played that game though. So
actually, well, a lot the Mario 64 that came out at launch, I bought that. I remember that. That had a feature where the original wrist strap for the DS had a thumb pad, a little plastic round thing that you could strap onto your thumb, and then you reached around the D-pad, and it gave you analog input by touching the screen. And man, that was a great idea in the beginning, and then I realized how incredibly
Boy, did it
uncomfortable
suck.
that was pretty quick because you had to stretch to reach it.
Boy, am I glad I missed the first year and a half of the DS.
Yeah, they thought that was a good idea.
So
Yeah,
Whoa.
the only, one of the things I remember is I'm trying to remember what game I was playing on it. I want to say it was a siphon filter game, and holy shit, were the controls for aiming and shooting god awful because you used X, square, triangle, circle as directional pads, and used the two directional pads. They didn't even use the nub for aiming.
well,
So
that's
you
like,
use those as analog sticks. It was really weird.
that's like Turok controls.
I don't like that.
Oh.
That's just silly to me.
I always
It's
preferred the Turok controls on the N64.
well, you're entitled to be wrong.
I know. I'm often wrong. So, well, anyone else have anything they want to add?
Oh, there's so much more, but I'm tired.
Nice. I will say, like, it was. As far as I know, I can't remember any other handheld that had non-gaming media like that, like the UMD discs, like the movies that would come out on it.
The Game Boy Advance had
Just, I mean, but
cartoon
digitally.
cartridges.
Oh, did it have cartoon cartridges?
Yeah, I had a
Yes.
couple cartoons, like 2 or 3 episodes on a cart.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
I wish I'd have bought some of those.
I think I have one somewhere.
I have a whole bunch of stuff I need to buy from you.
I was gonna say that's the sound.
I wouldn't charge you for any of it.
Right, that's what I said when I told him about the Samus statue. He's like, please let me pay you for that." I'm like, "Put your dick away." Like,
So
Oh, it's people like you why my collection is so big, and I really appreciate it. Thank you guys.
well, it's like if you've got a place for it, I don't. So take
yeah,
it.
it's
I don't.
just like I would rather you will take much better care of it than I ever will. So,
So,
are you kidding me? How many times I've shot Nerf arrows at that guy? Like,
so. All right. Well, Danner, you got anything you want to say?
No, I'm good.
I thought you fell
Get away.
asleep there, man.
I thought
Yeah.
I was like, Andy's asleep, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry, Microsoft is dumb. Really
Okay,
what it
then.
said.
All right.
They auto renewed my Xbox Live, and I haven't been on Xbox Live in like
Ooh.
3 months, and now
Don't you
I'm
love when that
trying
happens?
to cancel my auto renew thing right now.
Um,
Sorry.
they-
They will give
usually
you
they
your
send you an
money back
email
after.
like a month or two
They
before.
did, and it wasn't supposed to renew till tomorrow, and I just got a confirmation email that says they just renewed it, and I was like,
Well,
it's a
'cause-
day early.
the next day's business on whatever account you used it on. As far as the bank's concerned, it is tomorrow.
Well, fucking hell.
I
know, isn't that fantastic?
That's the first thing. That's the first thing I did when I signed up for Live. Is how do I not have this auto renew?
Yeah, well.
So
Well, I figured I'd let it do this one, and then I took it off as soon as my Xbox renewed, just because I need to see the time frame of when stuff's coming out.
I can't let it auto renew because I'm never paying $60 for Xbox Live
Nope, me neither.
unless
And I didn't.
I can flip it around and I can get Call of Duty Black Ops and a 12-month subscription of Xbox Live for $70. Then I can be like, I got.
Bastard.
Then I can at least go, hey, look, I got Call of Duty for $10.
And he played it once.
Yes. No, I played it for like 2 days and then I hated it.
Yeah, I know. I was there,
So-
and it was a horrible 2 days for the community.
All right, well, we're gonna shut this down. We're gonna shut this down so some people can go get some sleep. If you want to get in touch with us, you can comment on our parent site at geekcastradio.com or send us emails at feedback@geekcastradio.com.
I would like to read some emails.
Well, we haven't gotten any yet, so maybe we will now.
Send us some.
You can find myself, Michael Powers, on Twitter, Xbox Live, and PlayStation Network by finding Booth Ninja 81. You can find Danner on Twitter at Art Danner. You can find him on Xbox Live, Whippin Space 12.
I
can
could
also-
have done that. You didn't have to do it
I'm
for me.
trying something new.
He's trying something
Okay,
new. Shh,
fine.
shut your mouth.
And on the PlayStation Network at X51 The Machine Man. You can find Shanzi on Twitter at Shanzi Brown and Xbox Live at Weapon87. You can find Joe on Facebook by searching for The Geek Garage Sale. And you can also find them on Live and the PlayStation Network.
No, you can't.
Well, at Wildfire 405 with 2 V's for the W. So
The wildfire.
The wildfire.
So maybe
Say it with a German accent, yeah.
I highly doubt it, but maybe we'll have some irate emails to read on the next show. I can always dream, right?
I would love to do
You
that.
dream of irate emails?
I'd rather get hate mail than no mail.
It means people actually listen to the show.
Exactly. So
Screw those people.
until next week, we'll be talking about current events, probably. Maybe it'll just be another 2 hours of what we've been playing. Who knows?
Depends on if anything materializes.
So, all right. We will see you guys next week.
I'm assuming you can hear me.
Barely.
Barely.
Barely?
Yeah. Are you running with the right microphone?
Should be. Hello?
Well, that's a lot better.
Well, that's because I'm literally on top of it.
Ooh, I like it when you talk dirty.
It shouldn't be like that.
Was one of the toggles on the back flipped?
It's switched to 3. It should be at.
Because one of them adds a negative 10 decibel pad on top
How about
of it.
now? How about now?
Worse?
Good? Not good? Worse?
Let me look up this stuff real quick.
How about now?
That sounds better.
Better?
Okay.
Are you right on top of it again?
No.
Let's see.
Weird. Kids have been screwing around with it, most likely.
How dare they?
I was gonna say you probably just.
You're in favor of beating, right? Just
Well, only if it worked.
So.
And from what I've learned, it works.
I was gonna say.
I was very impressed when Graydon was very young. He did something naughty, and you told him to go sit on the stair for a timeout, and he did. And you didn't have to put your hands on him, touch him, or yell at him or anything. And I can't believe that was so cool to see him do that himself, and
Xander does it now too.
that's awesome.
You tell Xander no, and he'll put himself in timeout.
Oliver's done that a couple times, put himself in timeout. That it just blows my mind that he has that kind of self-control.
Yeah, Xander started saying "What's this?" today. He hasn't done like any talking at all, and now that's every time he'll point to something. He goes, "What's this? What's this?" It's adorable.
Oh,
It is now. Like a month from now, he's like, "It's a fucking chair, kid. I've told you 100 times." Like,
Did you guys get the script
mhm.
that I
No.
literally sent out 15-20 minutes ago?
Did it go to Facebook?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where else do I send them?
I love it, and it's like, just please take the 30 minutes. If I take the 30 minutes, the podcast is gonna start late.
That's on every single one.
I know.
If I take
I'm
the
like-
30 minutes, this podcast is already over.
Yeah, right. No, it won't be. You liar.
It could be.
It won't be at all.
It could be over very quickly.
It can't be. If you freaking boot me from this call right now, like,
This conversation could be over for you very quickly.
Ooh.
All right. You guys ready to get this started?
Sure.
Wow, you
Certainly.
sound so thrilled.
Well, I'm just preparing myself to be attacked.
Oh, I'm
Again.
not going to say anything today.
I'm bullcrap.
I'm letting you. I'm letting you say whatever you want to say, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
No, you're not.
Oh yes, I
It's not
will.
gonna
are we
make
taking
for-
bets on this?
It's
I'm
not
gonna
going to
call
make for
bullshit right now.
compelling.
Hold on, let me
It
make
won't
it
make
official.
for a compelling podcast unless you make your questions. I promise to be, less. What did you text me today? Less like a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
You're just blaming Mike because Mike's not you.
what the hell is that? Don't be that guy.
All right, hang on. I'm gonna go run to the bathroom really quick.
For a second, I thought that was Rob Zombie.
It's the Saints Row 4 trailer.
Oh. I thought that was Dragula for a second.
I was sold at rocket launching guitar cases.
That's one of those games that I wish I liked.
I'm gonna say you can borrow 3 from me. Haven't been able to get into them until the only thing that gets me into 3 was the fact that I designed Bruce Willis as my main character. And for some reason, it just adds something playing as Bruce Willis being the boss of the Saints. It touches me on many levels. I like it.
Still have not
Yeah,
played that
I guess
game.
I don't. In that type of world, I guess I don't like being the bad guy.
You're not the bad guy.
Yes, you are. You're a gang leader.
You're trying out, Joe. It's so unrealistic, and it knows it. It is just parroting every single everything.
What is what?
Saints Row the Third.
Oh God, so good. Like I remember when was it for Saints Row 2 or 3 when they were really ripping into GTA 4.
It was 2, I think.
2. They were like, you can go bowling with your friend, or you can bowl your friend into traffic. And it shows you grabbing your teammate and just throwing him in front of a bus.
Which ones has the sewage truck?
Both
3.
of them.
Okay.
Or all of them.
2 has it too. I don't know if the first one does.
I never played the first 2.
I've played all of them.
Does it have co-op?
Yes.
Like story
well,
co-op?
yeah.
Yep. You just load it. Like, say you're in your game. It doesn't really make sense, but it's just you're in your game. I just load in with my character.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Art, I haven't heard
fun,
you
though.
say anything about the Veronica Mars movie.
No, I can't wait.
I know.
I don't understand that Kickstarter thing
I don't understand it either, but
because they don't
I'm
get
excited.
anything. Like Warner Brothers just walked away with like $2 million.
Huh?
Like, I don't understand. Like, I usually with a Kickstarter thing, you get something. Like, no one's getting like a free movie ticket to it or a free copy of the movie or anything like that. It's just like
Sure they
people
are.
just,
Did you look at the Kickstarter and look at the rewards for donations?
I read the Slash Film article about it, saying that they weren't getting anything.
Sure they
Oh.
are. They're getting copies of the script,
they're getting
signed,
credited.
posters.
Posters.
Yeah, the day after the movie, you get a digital copy of it, and if you donate more, you get the physical copy when it comes out.
Yeah, if you go to the Kickstarter website, there's an entire list of stuff on there. I don't know where Slash Film got their info, but it's on the Kickstarter page.
That's just, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know if I trust Warner Brothers to actually make the movie, and thereby
I don't
they
think
might
Warner
not get
Brothers
anything.
is making the. I thought
They
Rob,
said they're not putting anything towards it though. Like they'll distribute it, but they're not,
I think Warner Brothers is going to distribute it. I think that's about it, though.
but they're not going to market it or anything like that.
No, they said if you prove that there's fan interest in it with this Kickstarter thing, then we'll put our support behind it. And I assumed that meant financial support once the demand is there, and they met the $1 million and doubled it.
Did anybody read the synopsis that released for Transformers 4 today?
No.
Nah,
It's
I
too
read
vague.
your reactions to it.
Too vague? You read? Did you see my reaction on Twitter to it?
No,
Just go. Transformers 4 sounds fucking terrible.
I'm
It
sure
takes
it will
place
be.
4 years after Dark of the Moon, and the Autobots and Decepticons have pretty much disappeared from Earth, and a new ancient Decepticon evil is coming towards the Earth. And so I was just like reading the description. I was like, this sounds fucking dumb, like really dumb, like even dumber than I thought it could have possibly
It
gotten.
doesn't sound any dumber than the other Transformers
It
movies.
basically sounds like they're scrapping everybody from the first 3 movies and going with entirely new Transformers.
Yeah. That
which
I get.
seems a little bizarre.
Well,
And how do you make a Transformers movie without Optimus Prime and
wasn't that
Bumblebee?
Simple.
and-
Rodimus Prime.
Wasn't that one of Hasbro's problems with the movie? Was they had no way of marketing anything because it was the same characters over and over and over again in the same cars.
Sure, they did. They just took the toys that didn't sell and repainted them.
Well,
Exactly.
I know, but it's like
It was-
if you have Optimus didn't change from, so if you had one Optimus, he was the same thing.
I
Like, he
don't
didn't-
know. They had an Optimus from the first movie. The second movie, they had an Optimus that combined with Jetfire or
Yeah, Jet, whatever his name was.
Whatever.
I could be wrong. I thought I heard that
And
was one
then
of Hasbro's
they had-
problems.
In the third one, they had like him with his trailer because his trailer was like a weapons locker.
cache
Oh,
type thing. I think they did a fairly decent job of redesign, and then they redesigned Megatron too. So
Yeah, I laughed so hard at that part in the third movie. It's like, oh, I need my weapons trailer. Really, you made it through 2 movies without it? Like, I think you're good.
I was like, the only thing that could have been worse for Transformers 4 if they announced that it was a Return of the Twins and it was just a buddy cop movie with the twins.
It's Bad Boys 3.
Bad Boys 3
Oh,
with the twins.
Oh my god!
Only if
that'd
it's
be
voiced by Martin
fantastic.
Lawrence and Will Smith.
It would have been awesome. I would have watched that.
I would have totally gone to see that.
I wish that's one of the things I wish about Transformers 2 is that the twins had been Martin Lawrence and Will Smith.
Oh my god!
It would have been less racist.
It would have been more of an in joke too, which would have been great.
How did they get away with that? Like, they had gold teeth. Like,
So
I don't understand how they got away with being that racist, but just in robot form.
So anyway, some of us have to work tomorrow, like Joe and me. So we should probably get going.
Hey,
out.
I gotta be up at 6.
all right, whenever you want to start.
Asleep.
Okay.
We gotta go.
Yeah.